Yo, welcome to Crate 808, the 90s rap podcast that's swinging through your town like your neighbourhood Spider-Man. And today we are bringing back, from much requested, must I say, a debate, a 3-album Crate 808 traditional, our trademark thing we started with.
I thought you meant me and Jambo. We're much requested. No?
Sorry, yes, and that's true. Bringing the debate flavour today. Obviously, there he is, putting in as usual. Raymond Ridge with his beer in Perth. Yes, the Boom Bap Crusader. And we've got our rap nerd in Newquay, James Midwinter, in the house as well. Welcome back, James.
Hi. Hi. How's it going?
Good, lads. Good. How are we all doing? We're doing a debate today. We're back. Ray's been fiending for this debate. Ray's been researching his album for roughly half a year. Let's see how much he's got to bring when it comes to that episode.
Half an hour.
It has been a while, hasn't it? This one's been on the cards for ages.
It has. And get this, guys, we've actually got mapped out 12 debates. So we could bring you one a month. If only we could find the time to do them. And Ray would pull his finger out and turn up on time. Diss, subliminal. Not even a subliminal, just a diss. I'm subbing you.
It's projection as well, as if it's mine and Ray's fault that you're always busy.
I didn't say you, Jumbo. You're all right, mate. But today's debate, it's a big one. I think generally these albums are considered kind of classics of the 90s. Maybe not by Ray, but still, we have got Ghostface Killah's debut, Iron Man, which I will be bringing. James is going to be bringing, to get into Crate 808, which one of these is going to get in? Jay-Z's Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. James, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for more jigger on this pod. And Raymond is going to be bringing, which I thought was a surprise for Ray, because I love this album as well, Labcabincalifornia by Pharcyde. So, going to be big. We're going to split these into little episodes. First up, we're going to do Iron Man. But before we do Iron Man, repping, by the way, just so you remember, it got four
let's
mics
see.
in the source.
Stand up so we can see the...
Can you see? There we go.
Okay. Quite a low effort design, but yeah, it's good.
I give that 6 out of 10.
Low effort, high impact, especially when you go into nursery and people looking at it going, Iron Man, isn't that part of the Marvel Universe? It is. It's also the outro track to his amazing debut album. But before we jump in, we got to do what we usually do, lads. Least hip hop thing in the last 24 hours.
Oh, fuck me.
I'm going to. Well, James, you told me a story off mic that you could use. Ray, I'm going to go to you first, my friend. And good work on repping that tea, by the way. Anybody want that tea? Crate808.com. Go get yourself one. Go get your mum one. Whoever, go get someone.
Yeah, just get me another one.
Get one that fits better than the one that Ray's got.
You just come on. Look, when you're anyway.
When you're getting hench.
So, what was the question? What were we talking about?
Least hip hop thing, Ray. Always the same. Always the same.
Least hip hop thing. The least hip hop thing in the last 24 hours. It's the last 2 weeks actually. I've been moving house. You can probably see in the back. You can see the shelves are empty. They're
where are you going?
Where are you going, Ray?
I'm moving 500 meters down the street. So it's not far enough. It almost isn't worth. Well, I haven't hired a van or anything. I've got like a little like beach trolley kind of thing. So I've just been loading up a bag of that and just taking it bit by bit. And you think you always when you're moving house, you're always like, this won't take that long. And then like it'll take 3 or 4 trips. But it'll maybe take 10 trips with a thing. It's taken fucking 3 weeks of just fucking shifting bits after work. I ain't got a car, so it's not like I can just load up the car and move down there. So
can you not put one in your cop car? Some of it in there.
Yeah,
it's too far away.
Wagons?
They get suspicious, but I'm like, I always want to take trips back to the city because that's where all the best coffee is, and they just, if I'm like, guess you never go on your own, so you come with someone else like, guess what task we're doing today? We're just shifting boxes for this investigation. For this investigation, we're going to shift boxes from point A to point B. Yeah, don't ask why.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Can I ask why you're moving only 500 meters up the street?
So I'm moving in with a mate. So he was living in my spare room, and basically the housing market, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, boring story. We moved to a place down the street. And my mate happens to be a person who, he's a drunk Somalian. So that relates to the first verse of the first tune. The first tune here. Oh wait, Eden. He likes.
That is superb segueing.
There we go.
Superb segueing.
I had another one because I'm moving. The last thing left here is the computer for this because we haven't got internet in the other flat yet. And I've also got my box in hand.
Oh, good.
Hey,
good.
Hey,
What's
hey.
for tea? What's for tea later, Ray? What's for tea later? Is it something with chips?
Assassination Day. What references are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Fish. Easy reference, very
fish,
simple.
yeah, okay,
the simplest reference, I'd have thought.
That's probably that was a good setup. We'll edit that in. It's fine.
We'll edit it in. Well, I like that. So the least hip hop thing, moving down the road 500 metres. Like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it, Ray. James, what have you got, my friend?
I'll tell you the story that happened earlier on. It's actually interesting. I want to get your take on. It has something to do with like COVID decorum, but I was walking down like a small passage off of a park this morning when I was walking the dog, and there was a lady at the other end, but she wasn't like looking at me or anything. She was just stood there looking off, like literally the opposite direction, and like I didn't even notice her until like I came out of the passage, and she wasn't looking at me. She was just sort of standing there, and then I walked off, and she just went, "Wow." And I like was like, I didn't even think. I was like, oh, I wonder what she said. And I just carried on walking. And then she literally said, "Motherfucker," like that, which is like not what. And I turned around and she was looking at me. And then I was really like, oh, you were waiting for me. But like, I didn't. How was I to know that you weren't even looking at me or like looking like you were wanting to walk up the passage? So and I found this that people get really angry about on the street COVID decorum of like the 2 meters thing, which I know you're supposed to do, but like at some points, like you go through your day and you fuck it up. I've heard people do get really fucking angry about it, don't they? Like
they do. That's quite hip hop what she did though, isn't it? Just call someone a motherfucker in the street.
That's the weird thing. Being called a motherfucker in especially in a small UK town is like it's not what you expect, is it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, hold on. Wow, I feel for you, man.
Do you guys get angry? I mean, like I get it. Like you want to be as like far away from people as possible. There are mistakes. People make mistakes. I think
it's human. Yeah.
In this, actually, to be fair, Ray's the wrong person to ask about this, but like people make mistakes and it's okay. It's fine. Not in Ray's world, obviously, but
yeah, Ray believes in mistake. You're out. You're done. Get out of here.
What would you think about it, Ray? I mean, you're in Australia where there is no COVID.
You mean like Iron Man? I haven't forgiven him since this came out. It's just that no, this is not the biggest, most overrated album.
You're going to make another wild statement here, Ray? Right, what's the wild statement? He usually makes one of these every episode. Go on.
Well, we've already done the 1995. This is the most overrated album released in 1996. There we go. Done.
The most overrated. Right, there we go, people.
Yeah.
Email us. Yeah. I'm gonna wind this right up into the mailbag.
I got one for every year of the 90s. I got plenty actually for each year of the 90s.
Just in case people are listening and on YouTube, whoever's watching, subscribe by the way. There you go. Subscribe, like, comment, all that. Ray can come off like a takeover Terry, or like oh I'm doing the hot take right now, guys. This is like this is exactly what Ray is like. This is actually he probably really believes this is the most overrated album of 1996. Unreal.
It's because it is.
Anybody who wants to counter this argument, email us crate808@gmail.com because I want to hear the other argument for this. But Ray, I think you're wrong. Incorrect.
We'll get into why. We'll get into why. It's fine.
But we're gonna go in. People, crate808.com. Sign up to the newsletter. We're doing a Patreon. This Iron Man episode, obviously, we're gonna go in. We're gonna talk about it, but there's so much in this album I can really dig into, and we're going to. On the Patreon, we're going to do our Wu-Tang Chronicles, and we're going to go through every solo project of every Wu member, and we're going to start with Ghostface, and we're going to do Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, blah, 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 all these, and Iron Man will be on there as well. So sign up to the newsletter if you want more of this, if you enjoy this. But before we do, I suppose I should say my least hip-hop thing. It's not very good. I was about to watch a hip-hop documentary yesterday, and opted to watch a comedy, Bad Neighbours, instead. So I went from non-hip-hop, although Bad Neighbours does have hip-hop references in it.
It's got some hip-hop in it, doesn't it? Like, what is it that they really like a particular...
Hootie Hoo. The Hootie Hooing. I love that. Yeah. Outcast Hootie Hoo. And then they start spitting the verse to Hootie Hoo. Fucking love that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I've seen Well, either the
you'd love
hip-hop
it.
documentary or Bad Neighbours, but just to not completely move on from Jambo's Lee's hip-hop thing, like what you were saying about the whole COVID decorum thing here. There's no COVID in Western Australia.
Yeah,
have you had your jabs yet?
No, not yet. I should be soon for me, hopefully.
Really?
I'm in the age bracket. 40s. 40s, isn't it?
You're
I'm old. I'm old, motherfuckers. That's what.
How old are you, Ray?
Yeah, same age.
Not mentally, mentally different.
But I've had the AstraZeneca, and now there's all these.
How have you had that already?
Isn't all around Europe is just like people are dying, blood clots. I'm like, no, I don't know. Is that about to happen? Is that about to happen?
This is going to go out in a few weeks, Ray. This is going to go out in a few weeks, so we don't know. Like, hopefully, you'll still be here. Oh God, let's not go down that road. But
I'd be delighted if he wasn't.
Thanks for your concern.
But yes, so we're going to go
treasure these moments. I'll try and be.
Yeah. For posterity, we're recording them, Ray. So
not posterity. So many people keep saying what prosperity.
Then posterity. That's what I said. Posterity.
There you did. You said prosperity.
No, I didn't. I said posterity.
Let's have a prosperity.
We're going to talk about use of the English language in a minute. But before we do, just interrupting this episode to give you a quick update on our plans for 2021. But before I do, just remember to subscribe on YouTube and like this video. Also, get involved in the comments. We always have some dope takes on there, so shout out to people that are getting involved. We love reading them, and hopefully some more of you guys can get on there and we'll shout you out on the episodes coming up. Now, on to 2021. We here at Crate 808 are setting up a Patreon where for the price of a pint or a coffee every month, we'll be bringing you even more dope hip-hop episodes. Simply go to crate808.com, subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get all the updates on our plans, but as a taster, each month we're thinking of bringing you 90s rap hidden gem album reviews that you can vote for. So if you enjoy people like Master Ace, Diamond D, The Lynch Mob, Paris, Big Noid, Blase, we'll be doing a lot more of those. We're going to do our Why I Love series, the MF Doom and J Dilla editions. Each month we'll bring on a guest and dig into why they love a certain Doom or JD track, and then test that love. How deep is that love? So expect some nostalgia right there. Next up, Wu-Tang Chronicles, Ghostface Killah edition. We're aiming here, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but we're aiming to go through every solo Wu project, and we're going to start with Ghostface catalogue. So we're going to go in, we're going to talk about the music, we're going to talk about the fashion sense, and just some of the amazing bars he's dropped in that career. So you can expect that as well. And then for every patron who comes on, get your name on the credits, the Crate 808 credits, and in our Hall of Fame. So that'll be, I don't know how that's going to look right now, but we're going to give each of you a little bit of shine and a shout out on the show. And the Griselda Marathon, I want to do it. If we get enough patrons, we're going to do it. We're going to go through every single Griselda project and really let's dive in, yeah? So get involved. Hit up crate808.com, subscribe to the newsletter, as well as the YouTube and the podcast. Now, back to the episode.
No, don't have Ray. Ray wouldn't say it. You just say it. You go, okay, right, guys.
No, but I don't mind Ray saying it, but don't go, Cam, why would you just say, so go on then, Cam. Why do you think?
Go on then, Cam. So go on then, Cam. You've got to edit this in, and it's going to seem natural.
It's going to so
go on then, Cam. So we'll just keep all of this in. Why should Iron Man be in Crate 808? It shouldn't, but carry on.
Right, why I think I think Iron Man should be in Crate 808 ahead of Volume 2, ahead of Labcab, which I love both, but Iron Man, obviously on a personal level, I love this album. But let's just go through why I think this album should be in, right? First of all, it's one of the first albums I ever heard that rewarded multiple listens and real digging into lyrics, which, let's be honest, today is a thing. You wouldn't have Genius without it being a thing. There's a moment in hip-hop where you can listen to All Eyes on Me, rewindable moments, absolutely, because you're bumping that amazing beat. But when you're getting something new every single time, Iron Man is one of them albums, maybe the first for me, where I'm getting new things constantly, all the time. Even now, 20 odd years later, I'm still getting that. Also, it birthed one of the most successful, consistent, and influential rap artists of all time. You can say 36 Chambers did. You can say his other stuff on Cuban Links did. But this is his statement. This is Iron Man, which is, let's be honest, quite different to all the other Wu albums, and very singularly Iron Man. It paints that portrait of the guy that we're going to go and fall in love with over the next 10, 15 years. So it proves that examples that rap isn't just about meeting criteria that's been set like binary mode, like good raps, good beats, good this. Yes, it has all of that, but this, I think, true game-changing stuff in art comes outside of those dimensions. Yes, I can attack this binary mode of this is what should deliver in hip-hop or whatever music or whatever art. This does that and then goes, by the way, you've never heard anything like this, and we're just going to bring it to you, which essentially is the language, cadence, flavour of these guys. And we're going to go into flavour in a little bit. But that's also another thing I think this brings, as well as Cuban Links. Both brilliant double, like you can listen to them back to back and they complement each other brilliantly, and yet are still quite different from one another. It has a heart to this album that lies in friendship, family, chaotic heartbreak, like not normal heartbreak, the kind of heartbreak that leads you to do tracks like Wildflower, which I'm sure we're going to talk to, but it has that to it as well. And also, if you think about the heart to it, it's aged brilliantly because of that. There is no syntheticness to this album, which you could argue is for Volume 2. There isn't this clout chasing. There isn't, by the way, we know what's happening in rap and we're going to go for that. No, there is an integral truth to this album, which is we are who we are. We speak how we speak. And if you love it, jump on board with us. If you don't, it doesn't matter, because the people who have jumped on board with us are going to have fully enriched lives for the next 15 years. Also, it ushered
based off of the lyrics. You're going to have a fully enriched life based off of these lyrics.
Mate, I will bring you things. I will bring you things that have enriched my life from this album alone, let alone Supreme Clientele. But we're going to go into also, I've got to say, this ushered in a wave of slang vocabulary that Cuban Links did as well. Absolutely did. I don't think you can really talk about this album without really mentioning Cuban Links.
You're going to have to.
You don't have to. I think you might have to.
No, you're going to have to, because this is a three-way debate, not like the entire Wu-Tang versus
well, yeah,
Jay-Z
you're
and
right.
Pharcyde.
You're right. I think, though, that album obviously is complementary to this in so many ways, but this also helped usher that wave of slang vocabulary and things that literally changed the way I understand the English language and its use. And just on a technical level, it's the thing that wrapped up RZA's 5-year plan. RZA's plan of, I'm going to True Master big up. I still think RZA putting this together, being one of the final albums he ever really did for the Wu fully, is one of the things we should always look to and be like, how did that 5-year plan map out, and what did Iron Man bring to that? And I'm sure we'll dive into that in a bit, but on a technical level, not only do you have RZA at one of his zeniths at that point, but also it has, for me, the best one of, easily in the conversation, one of the best features in rap history and one of the best rap openers in rap history. Obviously, if you guys want to argue this point, crate808@gmail.com, email us in on your favourite features and stuff. But in the 90s especially, I would say these two things carry this album, as well as the heart, the soul music, the blaxploitation samples, and all of that jazz. Now, I'm going to post this to you guys. I've obviously got more I want to go into. We've got our categories. But guys, give me your thoughts on Iron Man. Whoever wants to jump in.
Well, so you said primarily, which caused me to start frantically writing notes. I realised now there's not actually that many notes, but still, it said it rewards multiple listens, and still gives you rewards to this very day. You still discover more and more in this album because it's such fucking gibberish. It's an entire album of just nonsense. They just talk about absolute nonsense, and some of it, like Ray's verse in Daytona 500, Corolla, Motorola, Holder, but some of it is beautiful nonsense, but it's still nonsense. They're talking absolute nonsense, and multiple tracks of... Okay, the track started... Oh, hang on, let me just skip it forward 30 seconds because Just fucking 30 seconds of nonsense at the start of almost every single track.
So, right, give me an example. What do you mean nonsense? Like what not? Because I want to talk about this.
I can stop you. I know exactly what this is. This is like trying to take Ray to the Tate Modern. He's just going to be like, it's old. A kid could do this. It's fucking rubbish.
Ray and the Tate Modern, I think we've done that before, Ray, me and you, and I thought it was a very delightful experience. But I like the fact that Jambo brought that example. But I just want some examples of nonsense, because just to give you a caveat, on all of what you've said can be applied to almost all of your favourite MCs, my friend. Especially Eminem. Especially Eminem.
No. Ray's right. Ray's kind
what
of
you've just
right.
said, what you've just said is they heralded in a whole new fucking language that if you're on board, these are your words, not mine.
And I'm
they
agreeing
heralded
with you.
in a whole new language, and if you're on board, they take you on a journey, and if you're not, I'm not. If you get out your dictionary, this is when Cuban links was argued as well. You have like the Woo dictionary, and if you get on board and learn it, you can learn that there's secret hidden meanings and everything, and that's great. Like
that's rewarding, yes. As I said, it's rewarding, yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't
English, there's already enough for the English language to learn as it is. You know, I already need to learn this language first, and then learn their language as well.
Is that your argument? There's no one make any new creative stuff because they've already got loads. Don't worry about it. That's moronic.
No,
right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Moronic.
I'm just saying it is gibberish. You're arguing that they're gibberish.
It's not gibberish. Show me the gibberish. Write some. Prove me example. Where's the gibberish? Because we can go to Eminem's last album that you loved and you brought to the table, and Eminem does it all the way through.
You just said they heralded in a new language, and new phrases
gibberish.
that
Where's
you
gibberish?
use to this day. I'm calling
gibberish?
it gibberish. You're calling it new language. It's the same thing.
I can go into it. I can go into the rewarding moments and stuff like that. But if that's the basis you're coming from,
still deciphering it to this day. Whereas All Eyes on Me, I got it first time. Came out the same year. That's the album that I kept, and Iron Man is the album I gave back.
So name me like. Would you say, right, something like Rocky or Rocky 2 or Rocky 3 are your favourite films compared to something like Godfather, which you can watch over and over, or Taxi Driver or something like that? Are they? Is that how you live your life generally? Because if it is,
I watched Rocky again 1,000 times over. Taxi Driver. And
okay.
What was the other? And Godfather. I ain't watching Godfather again.
Okay. You ain't watching Godfather again.
You're talking to the wrong person here, Cam.
You're talking to the right person.
But no, now we know where we're coming from. I think in rap, James, I want to talk to you as well about Iron Man. You know, I would say, yeah, I love Rocky, mate. It's me and Artie's favourite marathon. We love Rocky, but we also love Godfather. There's different rewarding experiences. You live your life getting rewarded.
That's Michael Jordan as well. This is all 90s. This
He's a very 90s guy. Although Rocky was 80s and 70s, mate, as well. So, but version's nice. But anyway, what I was going to say was, if you're talking about gibberish and nonsense in rap, let's make it very, very clear, yeah, that in rap, there's been things that sound great and they say nothing. You are saying nothing. It's actually nonsense what you're saying, but it sounds great. I'm not saying Iron Man does that, but I'm saying in hip-hop, you can find millions of examples of that. And my first example to that for you would be your favourite rapper. Eminem does it all the time. Your last album, Iron Man, has more substance about soul and heart and life than anything Eminem did in his last album, even though he talked about the political stuff that was going on, the cancel culture, whatever it is. Yes, Em, I love what you're doing, but you're saying some of the worst punchlines I've ever heard. James, what are you bringing to the Iron Man chat?
So like
Jambo. Got him really heated up. Got really heated up early.
Big time, man.
Big time.
I've not even
really
started. I'm on
good.
that much of the notes. I'm ready to go.
It's weird because when I listen to the old podcasts, like we're all shouting over one another, but now you two start, and I'm like, better just be quiet for a bit.
Those old podcasts were chaotic. Yeah,
let them blow the steam off a little bit. I'm like in between both of you guys. Like you Ray's right and you're right. I feel just on this point, just on the lyrics point, right? I have got no issue with it is gibberish, so Ray's right, but I also think it's art and I like it. So there's the two sides of it. Woo to me Like the Ghostface has got a quote, which is the way to make good music is get some official beats and say fly shit over them.
Brilliant. That's what I'm talking about. I've read that quote before.
You either like that or you don't like it.
Just fly ass rapping, man. Fly ass rapping.
It's like Mark Rothko. He just got some official canvases and just put some fly colour on them.
Love it.
And like people like Ray would look at them and go, it's just fucking block of colour, isn't it? Shit. But like other people can look at it and feel something. And like there's a middle ground there. Like I don't sit there and like think like there's I mean, listen to this, right? Raekwon, verse 3 of what's the track? Assassination Day.
Let's go.
First of all, before we move on, this shit is like a Yukon, Don. Spread it out like Grey Poupon. Splurging, merging in the suburbs, using this just like an adverb, action word, flowing like a blackbird. Means nothing. It's just gibberish. It sounds great.
If you yeah, exactly. It sounds great, but it's actually just braggadociousness, which is fine. That's what hip hop is, right?
It's not even braggadocious. I mean, he's saying he's got a slightly expensive mustard. And it's a bit like his car. And then he says, do you know what an adverb is? It's an action word. And I'm flowing like a blackbird. It's just...
This is the thing. I don't think that is gibberish.
It's not going to enrich my life for the next 10 years.
That's not fine. Yeah, I didn't say the Assassination Day would be, but I'll tell you what, there's stuff in this that does do that, and you will always, well, I do. I always think, oh yeah, fuck that couplet that came out of that. Obviously, it's biased because our experience of this album is different. Some of us listen to it all the time.
I'm not saying I don't like that. I love that start to a verse. It's great. I will spit it back, and like enjoy it, but.
Assassination Day is a hidden gem on the album as well.
It's good.
Well, we're going to go to categories. We're going to get to categories. For a
different reason than what you're saying.
Well, we're going to get to categories in a minute. Let me just go into then, because we're talking about the rapping. I understand all your points. Ray, I see your point. Jambo, you're coming more in the middle ground. Let's just dive in then a little bit to this album. And again, if you want more of this diving in, we will do it on Patreon, so jump on that. But for now, for me, one of the first things I always remember even listening to this album, one of the first things was the opener and the skit and everything about that. And the people have talked about it forever. But that skit is incredible. I want to talk about it in Sample Corner in a bit.
I've not seen that film. Is it? We should watch that film.
The Education of Sonny Carson.
Yeah.
We should see that. We should. Yeah. I checked it out, and one of the things about that skit is it's world building, isn't it? And this is what skits can do really well. It can do really badly. Bathtub does it brilliantly on Doggy Style. We have it. We have skits everywhere. But this skit brings something different to Woo as well. Where I remember listening to it and thinking, I'm going to get Cuban links. I'm going to get crime. And this is like, no, these are kids. These are fucking kids talking like this. And then when I heard... for me, it blazing in my mind, the opening verse, I would say, right, the way Ray comes in on that and rides that beat, it's one of the best displays of riding a beat and flowing I've ever heard. Like, that way Ray comes in, and there's 3 standouts in this. I was looking at standouts just generally. Obviously, we've got to talk about Kappa on Winter Warz, probably the standout, but Ray on Iron Man and Ghost on Daytona 500 are their actual moments where you're like, fuck, I've just recognised that this is how you should fucking start an album. And again, Ray doing that thing, Ray probably is getting up onto his apex at this point, I would have thought. And just the pounding momentum it kicks off the album with. It's not about let's slowly get into something or whatever. I didn't need that at this point when I was listening to it. And the way Ray rides that beat, insane. The hottest bars on here, we have a hottest bars category. So I wanted to jump into some of the hottest bars. Obviously, we all love Ray going, just simple, but it's in my head now, but Kappa is amazing. But Ray, let's go into Ray, right? Some of these bars, incredible. So, starts off, Yo Gambino ends who swipe theirs, delicts rap cavaliers, midgets who steal beers, give them theirs. Right, midgets who steal beers? Why are midgets stealing beers from these guys? Are these kids? Are these kids that he's talking about that are stealing their beers? If there are kids stealing beers from Raekwon and Ghost on the corner, the fucking balls on these kids. Let's just be honest, right? I want to know about these kids. Sample these kids at the beginning. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking... That bit always got me. And then one rhyme that I never could figure out, but I just love it. Mitten raps they crocheting. Right, so mitten raps is just a brilliant... This is not talking about use of English language, which we're going to go into, which is like mitten raps being a better way of saying something that's been said before. The way they use their slang, although you might call it gibberish, when you call something mitten wraps, I'm like, soft ass fucking wraps that you wear at winter. I don't know, it doesn't really work, but it kind of does work, if you know what I mean. And that way of flipping the language to make me think differently about whack ass rhymes is amazing. And that's in the first fucking few lines. And then you've got Ghost, who then is referencing fucking Winnebagos. And he's like hitting White Label, left the Winnebago unstable. And I was like, what the as a kid, I didn't know what fucking Winnebago was. And he was like talking about swallowing raw eggs and all this. I was like, right. So what is a and then I did watch a very good horror film about Winnebagos, by the way, which I need to talk to you guys about. But it was just like, this is use of language, again, I've not heard underneath prime RZA. Like, what more do you not that you want? That's Cuban links, that's this, that is everything that he's been doing in that 5-year plan. And then he's fucking rhymed about telephone watches. He's like rhyming about telephone watches. What the fuck is a telephone watch? Like, I don't even at that point I was like, Ray and Ghost are on another level here. Like, they're on a level where only they probably can even talk about this to each other. If they could egg each other on in the studio, to just go for it and just fucking let's just do it. This is how we talk anyway. And then that opening track, Cappadonna, man. Cappadonna, I need to put let's put some flowers on this man's name, right? Because who else is at home every evening? I have a by myself meeting thinking who's going to get who's going to be the next to catch a beating. Right, this guy, when he beats you up, he's not thinking, I'm gonna fucking beat this guy up, I'm gonna act on my impulses. No, he goes at home, meditates, doesn't need any of his mates, switch off his phone, meditates on it, and thinks, well, who's gonna catch a beating?
That lady at the park earlier is doing that right now. She's at home meditating on how I'm going to catch a beating. Mate,
right? When you hear someone who's so that's really threatening to me. That's really quite like, oh, fuck, that's quite scary that you would do that. But with fly-ass rhyming. It's like you're doing all these same things I've heard in hip-hop, argumentative stuff, braggadocious stuff, just random lyrics sometimes, but they do it and it just sounds, they're so cohesive in this album. I've used the word cohesive, I'm sorry. In this album opener, Iron Maiden is just one of them, tracks that stands out for me. I just wanted to know what you guys thought to Iron Maiden.
I obviously it all just comes back down to I think both of you don't listen to Wu-Tang, right? I don't think either of you. I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand how to listen to Wu-Tang.
Go on.
Neither of you. I think that's why you're arguing.
I do.
Just don't. For you, isn't it?
just don't. Yeah.
I think you just got to.
Obviously, I listen to the select the good shit, but there's a couple of tracks on here that will be on a certain list, but only a couple.
The lyric, basically, for me, you either take Wu as being really deep, or you take them as being fun, and they're just fun for me. And they're not deep. I don't find I think you can look into the lyrics as much as you want, but it is gibberish, but it's fun gibberish, and I enjoy it a lot. I don't I'm more interested in the beats and the way that they flow over the beats and the way their voices sound on the record a lot of the time. The record and certain words they use, it is amusing, certain things, but they're not deep.
So you're not getting any heart from Tears or All That I Got Is You or Motherless Child,
because All That I Got Is You.
All that I got is you is the only one that speaks.
Yeah, exactly. All I got you is so tonally different in terms of the way he uses his lyrics. It's it could be on a different album. But
we're talking about this album, and it is on that album, and you've said that there's none of that on this album. Or Wu, there is heart.
No,
there is. I feel there is heart. And I think there is substance and depth. The fact that they use 5% of philosophy,
not to Assassination.
But that's exactly the point. Yeah, totally. The fact that All That I Got Is You is there, and it is a concept tune, and he does stick to the point, and it does have meaning. It does have thought in it. It's like, well, why didn't you put more of that in the rest of it? That's what my frustration. Well, not even frustration. I'm just like, all right, I listen through it, and I don't need to come back to this anymore. I'll take my Daytona 500. Thank you very much, and then I'll move on. Same as Incarcerated Car Faces off Cuban Links. That's it. Those are on the if you were to put together a list of tunes that, like, if an alien came to the planet and wanted to know what hip hop was, that would be on it, wouldn't it? But you just say, just have patience for 30 seconds. This is a fucking nonsense 30-second intro to most of the tracks.
See, this is it.
album.
I think this is it. If you're saying the skits and stuff is nonsense and you don't feel any of that stuff, I can't help you. Like, that's different. That's, to me, I feel the depth to Woo. The fact that they're talking about fucking God and you might not agree in religion, whatever. I grew up in a very religious house, so it was around anyway. But the way they're talking about it, it's also like, oh, that's a different way to have faith in things, and that is depth. I'm sorry, but
are we talking about Assassination Day here?
You're focusing on Assassination Day, so can we just get? I don't know what it is you've got, guys, but let's go to Assassination Day.
You literally just said you broke down the whole song, and then you were like, "What are your thoughts?" And I told you my thoughts. And you're like, "Yeah, talking about Assassination Day." You told me to talk about it.
Iron Maiden. We're talking about Iron Maiden, mate.
Yeah, Iron Maiden or Assassination Day, any of them.
I'm not talking about Assassination Day yet, but we can get to Assassination Day.
I'm talking about Iron Maiden. Like, sorry, I misspoke.
You think Iron Maiden is nonsense?
The whole album
is.
Whoa!
I've just told you about Kappa. Okay, go on.
This whole album is like standard Woo stuff, other than All That I Got Is You. And like, yes, most standard Woo stuff is just fun nonsense. That's what it is to me. But like, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think the lyrics are deep. I just enjoy like the wordplay, not on a sort of technical lyrical way. I just enjoy listening to people rhyme Benadryl with like a tremendously obnoxious.
Yeah, I love
fuck Benadryl. The violin in Knowledge God sounded ill. Tremendously obnoxious, no blotches.
That has taken me.
I enjoy that. It's silly and fun, but I'm not gonna. That's not gonna fucking. You're not Nas with that kind of stuff. However, All That I Got Is You. Fucking, that could be a Nas song. How fucking I'd say it's almost better than a lot of Nas's stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's in my Age the Best category.
Song.
I think Age the Best is that track is incredible. I think that's the first track as well. One of the first tracks. I remember thinking that touches my soul on a level that other music does, Sam Cooke or whatever you listen to at that young age. Because I used to really enjoy those soulful songs. What I love about what Ghost does in this, he brings that to it. He brings soul. Absolutely. He's a soul baby. He fucking croons at times. The soul samples, no one else is using that. The blaxploitation, no one else is using that in the Woo. That as well. And Mary obviously kills it. But I'll say for that as well, I don't know if you've checked the video at any point, right? But the video's he's looking fucking fly in that video. Although I don't know if he can play a piano. And if he can, wicked. But he's sitting at a piano and he's got what looks like a blue wicked in a cocktail glass at the end. And I was like, that is some fly-ass motherfucking shit. Like that.
I do like how he's sat next to Method Man. And it really touches me. It gets to a part of the song, I can't remember it is, and he looks at Method Man and they both sing it together. And I'm like, fucking hell, this is great.
Well, I've got things I want to talk to you about.
Can we just talk about All That I Got Is You? Because that is just, I like the rest of the album, but that's a top 10 song in history.
We can do more of the notes I've got in the Patreon episode, absolutely. But if you have more on All That I Got Is You, I'm here for it. What else have you got?
It's definitely, I'd say it's in the top 5 hip hop ballads of all time.
Ooh.
It's underrated.
Meth and Mary up there as well?
Way
that's
better
a ballad.
Than that. Way better.
Way better. That's
Is Meth and Mary in your 5?
No, it's not.
No,
it's
wow,
awful.
people email in create@gmail.com. I want to know top 5 rap ballads, because what is the criteria here?
People are going to say stuff like the criteria of ballads, not love ballads, but almost like Brenda's got a baby is like in the same category as this.
Yeah. So it's not a ballad; it's more of a
message.
You say message.
Well, like a sort of blues, hip hop blues almost is what it's like.
Okay.
If I Rule the World.
Brenda's got a baby's in there. What else? Sorry, Ray, what did you say?
If I Rule the World.
Yeah, that could go in there. It's a little bit upbeat, but yeah, I'd say I'd put that in there in that same category.
If I Rule the World, the outro with Lauren.
Lauren and Nas.
Yeah, Lauren's outro where we're going to the sun.
It doesn't have to have a sing. It doesn't have to have a singer on it for me. It just has to have like an emotional heartbeat to the song that tells me something about the struggle of an artist, and in that way, like, because that's what Nas's first album is kind of about. Obviously, he does it in a different sort of genre of rap where it's more upbeat, but like it's about talking about your past and your hardships, and that's the blues, really, isn't it?
The interesting thing about that, right, is how troubled and dark Ghost is, as well as a person that comes across in this album. Obviously not for you guys, but for listeners out there who really enjoy this element, the depth, the kind of darkness to it, the psychosis to it. To do something like Wildflower, which is Age the Worst, let's be honest, that's a psychosis. That's the way you're going in. It's amazing to me to think why someone would go that hard at someone, and it's like, fuck. Fuck off! I forgot to light my fucking lights, didn't I? Like a wanker.
But Cam, don't worry about that. Cam, like with Wildflower, do you feel like he is showing a vulnerable psychosis, or do you think he just thinks people think this is cool?
No, everything I've read up on it is apparently with Wildflower, especially, he wasn't. His life is mad. Like, I don't know how much of Ghost you know.
The fact he went to like Africa and stuff like that.
Yeah, went to Benin and got stuff like that. Yeah, he was talking to Ray on Instagram, and he was saying like how Cuban Links was really fun. And by the time he was about to record this, he'd heard, obviously his brothers were very, very ill. His mother was struggling to deal with those guys and the family generally. And then obviously he then heard, oh, by the way, I'm diabetic on a level that's going to affect my life for the rest of my life. I think he went into this album with that. He just came in like, fuck, what the fuck is going on in my life? And then went to Africa afterwards and sorted himself out for Supreme, which sounds like that. It sounds like a guy who's genuinely found a bit of peace and like, fuck it, I can attack this properly. This is a lot rawer. This is a lot more like, well, when you think about what he's going through in his head when... there's rumours that he was I don't think this is true, it's alleged, it's reported, but he was fucking running guns and shit. And he was, I don't know if you've ever heard the story of him going to Brett Ratner's house. Have you ever heard the story about Brett Ratner?
No.
So you know the Hollywood director Brett Ratner?
He's
quite famous.
Bit of a creep, isn't he? Or is that I'm thinking something different?
I don't know. I think you just talk about general Hollywood directors, really, mate. But he's not, I don't think he's a creep, but... this is superb. Basically, I don't know what it was for, but it's out in the West Coast. And Ghost was over his house, right? And Ghost was like, look, I've actually got this written down. He said, like, look, I've been breaking lots of shit in the hotel and they've kicked me out, right? Can you come and get me? I've got nowhere to stay. So Brett Ratner was like, this is weird. Brett Ratner was like, yeah, come on then, come stay at my house. I've got Ghostface Killah in 1995, 96, staying at my house, whatever it is, whatever year it was. So he's staying over there, and Steve Rifkin, who's been on the pod, Loud Records owner, calls up and he's like, hi, Brett, we're looking for Ghost. Where is he? He's like, oh, Ghost is around my house. He's staying in my house. He's like, what? No, don't do that. Get rid of him. No, don't have Ghost around your house. He's fucking crazy. And he's like, what do you mean he's crazy? No, he's legitimately like, he sees things and he thinks things are happening, and that's why he gets kicked out of lots of places. And Brett Ratner's like, no, he's really, really nice. He's like, no, he's a bit, a bit crazy. What does he say? He hallucinates. He hears voices like kill your mum, and he's been medicated because of homicidal thoughts, right? Brett Ratner, obviously, Ghost leaves, everything's all good. A bit of time later, Brett Ratner, dog's just like digging in the garden, and he's like, what the fuck is he digging at? Opens it up, and Ghostface Killah has buried some Kentucky Fried Chicken in his garden, and the dog found it, and he's like, what the like, that is kind of disturbing. Like, when you hear these stories of a man who's like that, to have any coherency at all is like, wow, this guy's actually quite coherent for a mad motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? Like, he actually does have that.
So all of this is like sad, and obviously wish him the best, and it's great, and he's made some great music over the years, blah, 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 blah. Wildflower is fucking awful. That is one of the worst tunes of all time. That's probably the worst tune of 1996.
Camay is up there. I can't wait to talk about Camay, because that is unbelievably
well, let's talk about Age the Worst on this album then. Let's talk about Age the Worst. By the way,
can I just confirm, Brett Ratner, sexual assault claims multiple with famous people. Yeah.
Really?
He's a bad man to cut that story.
No, wait, keep the story. That's great. It still happened. He got cancelled truth. Can't cancel actual things that happened.
Don't give him the airtime. He's caccelled.
Okay, we'll bleep out his name. So go on then. We're going to go to Age the Worst. Wildflower.
When people I don't want to hear about your dick. I just don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about your dick. Sorry.
There's a lot, but let's be honest, mate. If you're hearing about dick, that's a lot of hip hop. A lot of hip hop is dicks, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear it. Get the message out there. We should start a podcast and start saying how much I don't want to hear about your dick. But I don't want to hear about your dick in music. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I hope the message is received. Let's just make music about anything else.
Did you
anything?
Did you ever see the Ghostface doll that came out with the advert?
No.
I'm sure the advert was false. I don't think the doll said this.
The dick on the cover of Vogue magazine. Count how many veins on it. Is that
oh God, no! I don't know what that is.
That's from Supreme Clientele. That's a lyric.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, good ref. I was going to say the doll, and there were some people on Twitter who actually hit me up about this as well. It actually didn't say this because people have bought this doll. The listeners have bought this doll, but there's a doll, and you pull it back, and it just says, "Remember when I long dicked you and broke your ovary?" And there's a YouTube video of the girl going, "What the fuck?" And that is pretty mad. So yes, that I'll post that on socials. People haven't seen that, but he was on couples therapy afterwards and stuff like that. Like he hasn't got. It's hard for someone like Ghost to probably express himself. To be fair, in 1996, were there many people expressing themselves in a good way about women like this on tracks? I'd like to hear some of those tracks.
You can't do whataboutism. We're not Donald Trump on this podcast.
No, I'm not justifying. I think you guys think I'm justifying Wildflower. I'm not justifying Wildflower. What I'm saying to you guys is, clearly it is aged the worst on this album. There are other things that have aged the worst. Assassination Day being one of them, because Ghost isn't even on it, and that's why you probably like it. Why is Ghost not on Assassination Day? That's one of the worst things, aged things. Put him on it. It's an album. Yeah, go on.
Wildflower is like, it's awful. And like, it could come across as being like a kind of like, I don't know, like performance piece, like Eminem
satirical.
Does with
it's
Kim.
Almost satirical, yeah.
But it's not, because he says stuff. This is where what I like to call his neckbeard lyrics come out, like his sort of "I'm very deep" lyrics start coming, where he says, "I'm the first brother that had you watching flicks by De Niro." Oh wow, you're deep, mate. You're real deep. Like, I really dislike the whole verse is just about hating like a particular woman and how hot, but that one in particular is just like, you really think you're deep, don't you? Like, it's really dislikable.
I didn't really read that into it, but it's an incredibly vulgar, incredibly crass, verges on, as you said, satire. It's almost like, what the fuck, is this guy taking the piss or what? But either way, it's on the album, and you're absolutely right. It is one of the worst things on the album. Ray, did you have anything else to add to age the worst on the album?
Can we talk about Camay?
If you think it's age the worst, let's go.
It has, because it's creepy and it's more neckbeard lyrics. Like people who wear, I could imagine they're wearing fedoras while they're doing some of these raps and saying "milady."
Yeah, I didn't think it was as bad as Wildflower.
I like Camay. I like
Camay's all right. It's got that thing with Ray talking about some chick who was Yugoslavian, and so I remember thinking, didn't Yugoslavia disintegrate in 1992, and this came out in 1996? So therefore, you will be. While we're on the subject, Serbia and Montenegro actually formed a federation and were Yugoslavia at that time. So there could have been a Yugoslavian girl. I've fact-checked this part of that verse, and it's all right. It passes. It's fine. We're good.
So that's the bit you
guys carry on. Carry on.
You fact-checked
that's the kind of analysis that I tune into this podcast for. Geographical analysis.
A wild story.
Not all gibberish. Certified. Not all gibberish. There we go.
Okay, there you go then. So your first point's undercut.
So Camay, basically, like, you've got Ray. I quite like Ray. Like, he says, what's the lyric? What fabric is that? It's only woolen rayon, lipstick crayon, fly Fahrenheit spray on. I'm getting tipsy. I hope she reads cocks like a gypsy.
I'm sorry, right? But yes, it's crass. Yes, it's vulgar. Yes, it's not on. But flipping the words is what I'm saying. Like, I've not heard anyone else say that before.
So I'm in. At that point, I'm like, this is really silly, but fine. Ray's verse is all right.
A lot of hip-hop is silly.
The whole point of Camay is that it's like they're chatting up women. This is how we chat up women. So that's the point of this. So Ray's coming with that, and it's like, okay, fine. And then you've got Cappadonna, and he comes across as a bit of a Forrest Gump simpleton on his... He's really strange. He says, she elegant, pretty eyes, glasses, intelligent, whispered in my ear that she's celibate. I whispered back to her, we don't have to go there.
We don't have to go there.
It's nice.
I found that very, it's like you said, touching. It's like,
touching, but a bit simple, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like,
but every time you say Kappa, all I think of, remember when we talked about him in the ice cream video and he comes out with a headband round his neck? And I've never got that. Why does that look? It doesn't look good. I don't know. It doesn't look good. But I enjoy the fact that you brought that verse up because I was thinking of that as well. But yeah, you're right.
But finally, just one last thing. Ghostface Killah comes on and he just... Do you hear the tone in his voice, the patronizing tone in his voice on it? It's horrible. It's like, it makes me cringe. And then he says something along the lines of, I have a very sharp sense of humor. You don't say that on a first date. That's fucking weird. Like the whole thing is just... It's so netbed. It's the kind of person who's got like a katana on his wall when you get home. Oh yeah, that's my sword. Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to talk about swords in a minute. Actually, I've got some bits here I want to talk about hidden gems as well. But just going back to little bits about this album that I may have just glossed over. One thing I do love, and I love Mates, yeah? I love Mates. And I love the fact that Woo, at this point, is just about family at this point. There's no fucking about. It's like, we're just going to give Ray a track. What? Yeah, it's going to give Ray a track, Faster Blade. Okay, cool then. All right then. Fucking love Faster Blade, by the way. And yes, Ray is fucking unreal on that track. But I'm like, I love that about this, that they can just do that. And Hottest Bars on there as well, when he's talking about... describing things in a way that I've not seen before, where he was like splashing ends in the glass bends in Nevada, flashing gems, 8.5 Tim State robber. And I was like, fuck, 8.5 Tim State robber was just a brilliant way of describing someone. I'm just going to describe you by your shoe size and what shoes you wear. Like, that's fucking clever to me. That's like rewarding to me, where I'm like, oh, of course. Like, if I ever I did do creative writing. When you creatively try to write stuff, you try to think of other ways of describing the same old thing. Ray, that's just one example. He does it all over the place. But the fact they give him Faster Blade, I love the fact that the Woo do that anyway. Like, obviously, you have Killer Priest, you have other people who've done that in the Woo. But yeah, talking of Ray's verses, I think that's another standout. And on the pod, we do have what is the best Raekwon verse. So crate808@gmail.com. Ray said it was Skew It on the Barbie on Aquemini.
It is Skew It on the Barbie.
It is still Skew It on the Barbie, says Ray. So hit us up. But Ray on here is bringing that as well.
Answer.
That is the correct answer.
I do agree with what you're saying, Cam. Like, I think a lot of the time when that 8.5 Tim's thing, I think they do that a lot, and for just like, oh, let's describe a character, it's just fun. I think, and it's fun and it's silly and it annoys Ray. It doesn't mean much, but what he does on All That I Got Is You is he turns that descriptive power into something more emotive.
Yeah, absolutely does.
That's why it's really powerful. That's why it's more powerful. He's not just describing the way some guy looks. He's saying things like, on the bit where he says, sadly, Daddy left me at the age of 6. I didn't know nothing, but Mommy neatly packed his shit. Just that. Just the description of the way you can just feel the moment a little bit more, like the fact that she's neatly packing his stuff and that she's sad and she still cares about him. Just that tiny little thing. And he does that throughout that track. And I'm like, why do you not do this more rather than just calling people lobster heads?
Onion heads. But again, this is it. I absolutely agree. When he does shift his focus to that, and he does it multiple times in his career, it's amazing. It is. I think Ghost obviously has the other side to him, and I feel that's why he also ends up doing really well with people like Doom and people like, he went on and, he influenced, Kanye said he influenced him. I don't know if you knew this, but Kanye said he made all the tracks for the Blueprint stuff that Jay-Z took was Ghosts. And it's like, so people have had this influence from him, and people now still talk about it. We had Nicholas Craven on the pod saying it's his favourite rapper and stuff like that. When you look at the granular way he describes things, he does it in this album through storytelling, through braggadociousness, through wildly inappropriate means as well. So I'm with you. I love the way they describe things. As talking about describing things, we can't talk about this album and not talk about Winter Warz, because I think that's one of the first signifiers when I moved to London that I remember talking to just new people, and it'd always be like, oh, you like Woo, so what Woo stuff do you like? And every time the conversation came to, Cappadonna or that, it was Winter fucking Warz. That verse, it's so long, and again in the next episode on Iron Man we will go into this verse because we need to talk about it. He's citing geopolitical relations between USSR and PLO. Like, what are you watching, like, Kappa, at home when you're at home alone meeting? Like, what are you doing right now? You're watching the news. You get, like, there's actually a lot of depth to his verse. Obviously features Malcolm X, all that stuff as well.
But then he's just saying it. I don't think there's.
But it's a freestyle. It is a freestyle. It is a freestyle. So I mean, you can't. I mean, you have to take that into account. I feel like if someone
this is an overrated verse. Like people fucking shit their dicks off over this.
Wait,
like
it's an overrated verse.
What verse?
Cappadonna's verse on Winter Warz.
That's not an Iron Man, though, is it?
This is where it all comes apart for
Ray. It's
Ray.
not an Iron Man on Spotify, no, definitely.
All of Ray's hip hop knowledge is based on Spotify, annoyingly, and he's forgotten that Winter Warz is on here. Yes, mate, it is on. I know.
That's not here with Spotify. We specified that at the very first podcast. We're only going to be going on Spotify.
We talk about vinyl. None of this is actually about streaming.
Have you got the vinyl there?
I love that Ray is so 90s. He's like, he can't even bear anything that isn't 90s, but yet Spotify is his reference point. Not vinyl or owning the CD. Spotify.
Just on that, Ray, you obviously haven't checked out the Winter Warz verse, but I remember when he says, oh no, it isn't him. It's Ghost, who just opens with Slick Majestic, broke mics are left infected. I remember as a kid, just thinking Slick Majestic is a fucking great name, innit? Like, imagine a stage name, and here we are, here's Slick Majestic. And I remember just those two words. I was like, I fucking love that. As a kid,
you're setting yourself up for a fall calling yourself Slick Majestic.
If you're a magician or something, it could work. But either way, we're going to go into Winter Warz at some point, I'm sure, on the other episode. But I was going to say...
That's just.
I think it got quotable. I think Source made it quotable.
Why is it not on the Spotify? Why is it not on the Spotify?
Do you know what it might be?
Do you know what it might be? Genuinely depressed. Do you know what it might be?
Right, the fact that you can't remember Winter Warz anyway is making me feel like your credibility is absolutely
No, obviously
crumbled.
I can, but I thought it was on a Cappadonna album if it's not on there.
No. Basically, I know it was on the what's that? Don't Be a Menace. Film. It's on that soundtrack, so it might be on that soundtrack. But I also remember they had Soul Controller. I'm not sure if that's on Spotify or not, but that was another track that's supposed to be on here, and it didn't get cleared for samples. But
it's fine. He didn't listen to it in the 90s. He didn't listen to this album in the 90s. That's fine. He didn't know it existed.
But do you know what Winter Warz?
I did listen to it in the 90s. That's entirely my point. I listened to it and I gave it back. I borrowed it from a mate.
Oh yeah,
same
as
I did Hell on Earth. Both of them, same mate. Mikhail. He lives in Finland.
Convenient.
Shout out to Mikhail. Thanks for the album. I gave him a listen. Gave him back.
He doesn't exist. Mikhail doesn't exist. He's just a person to make it seem like Ray liked hip hop in the 90s.
I like the ingenuity. It's very, very Ghost ingenuity of putting that name in there. He'd use someone like Mikhail, I think, in a verse.
It sounds believable, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Why would I make someone up?
Because you're trying to do a lot of things. You listened to Ghostface in the 90s and you didn't.
Why would you move down the street 500 metres? Do you know what I mean?
Well, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff you listen to from the night. It's the entire reason. Why would I be on the fucking pod? I just fucking heard of 90s hip hop. Fucking dickheads.
Ray's not even had a beer.
A fucking pair of bellends is what you are.
I've been able to wind Ray up for a while, but I didn't think it would be this episode.
I didn't think it'd be Winter Warz either. I think it'd be Pharcyde. If anything, we're going to go into Pharcyde. But
this is literally it's the same shit you did in fantasy football as well. Like everyone's like, oh, let's leave the bidding to just bid for this player, bid for that player, and then they bring out their fucking secret players that they've done the research. Like, we fucking live in Australia. There's no fucking premiership here. How would I know that so and so is going to be fucking transferred from whatever fucking European team?
It's all coming out now, isn't it?
Fucking bullshit. There's a lot going in here. I didn't know fantasy football was such a trigger, but wow, okay.
It really is. I'm starting to realise it really
is. Listeners and viewers, this is what they do. They kind of keep their little secrets about, Ray won't remember.
I think it's just tactics in it. It's
not
just tactics.
We didn't take it off Spotify. We didn't take it off Spotify.
But you were aware it wasn't on there. So this track is so good, so worth mentioning, it's not even on Spotify.
Well, to be fair...
Fuck it, mate. Let's not bother with that track. That one with Cappadonna with that verse, that's overrated. No, that's no bother. Don't even bother putting it on there. I bet when I finally listen to this tune, that Winter Warz, I'll be like, oh yeah. And it's equally as forgettable as a fucking rest.
Well, I find Iron Man is synonymous with Winter Warz. I feel like when the first things when I grew, that's what I'm saying. When I first started meeting proper hip hop heads, there's certain things you cite.
Like Ray.
Yeah, like I talked about this before in another episode. I was saying when someone would talk about favourite rappers, you have your Tupacs, you have your whatevers, you have your DMXs. If someone said Big L to me, I would be, oh, okay, now I know what level you're on. Same thing with Wu. If someone said Cream or whatever, Protect Your Neck, that's fine. Someone says, oh, Winter Warz, I was like, oh, okay, let's go like Fourth Chamber. If stuff like that is the stuff that sticks with me, but can we just right? I don't know if you've dove into, but I definitely will share this link. But if anyone's dove into Kappa's kind of weird resurgence, now we're going to talk about apex moments and 5 mic moments, right? But I want to talk about first of all Winter Warz, because on Winter Warz, Cappa redid the video and he did Milk the Cow.
Saw that. I was laughing at that this morning. It was funny. Why?
It's incredible.
Times are hard, are they, mate? Why are you doing that?
First of all, fair play, because not many people go back and re-varnish something for a new audience, and I feel like it may have helped. It's got quite a few views, but mate, in that video, he hasn't given up the whole sword wielding thing, have they? Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's
they've got
katana
swords
in it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mate, it's not katana. I looked at it. It's a fencing sword. It's a fencing sword. I'm like, why the fuck? And honestly, watch that video, because Kappa is wildly. Like, I'm feeling for his boys there a little bit. I'm sure one of them almost nicks it.
I think it's got the thing on, hasn't it? Though the sheath.
Oh, has it?
I think it's got that on, which makes it stupider. There's one bit where he's in a field. It's 2 seconds, and he's in a field suddenly, and then 2 of his mates just jump up next to him, and I'm like, did you think that was going to look good?
That bit is genuine gold. There's one bit in 35 seconds is about that as well. I remember just timing it. I was like, that is so early on where this guy just again, brilliant. I love that.
Cam, do you think it's weird that this wasn't a single? This was because they chose Motherless Child as one of the singles.
Well, that was on a soundtrack, wasn't it? That was on soundtrack as well. So I think it became a single.
Also, did you see what soundtrack it was on?
Yeah, Sunset Park, which I've never watched. Have you seen the soundtrack?
I've watched the trailer. Fuck me, it looks awful. We've got to watch it. It looks so bad.
It's Fred Rose Starr, isn't it?
The barmaid from Cheers.
And the barmaid from Cheers. There we go.
I read a review of it, and it said it was basically saying this is really bad. And it's at one point, all of the players, even though they're awful, inexplicably just get really good at basketball. I can't wait to watch it. I think we should watch it.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch that. It's amazing. I was actually going to say
Winter Warz was on the soundtrack for Don't Be a Menace.
Yes,
it was. Oh, wicked. Yeah. Wicked,
I
cool.
wasn't listening because I was trying to fucking listen to the fucking tune.
No, so mate, you do your research on what 90s hip hop is. It's cool. Yeah, I know you haven't heard this before, so.
But we talk about one of our categories is 5 mic moments, right? So 5 mic moments being, is this what moment on this album is like 5 mics? Like when this Ghost's 5 mic moment? Personally, I don't think it is. I think that is when he done Supreme Clientele is when he could do anything he wanted, if you know what I mean. Like that for him was like, because I remember it as well, when Supreme Clientele came out, Wu was fucking creaking. Tikal 2000, fucking Beneath the Surface by Jizza. These albums weren't great. And I remember everyone being like, oh, the Wu thing's ended. And at uni, I remember getting Supreme Clientele, playing it and being like, oh, we're all right. We're okay. We were fine. I was going to say for you guys, what do you think is Ghost's 5 mic moment?
For me, like I've got loads of positive shit to say about Ghost. By the way, it's like I feel like I've been really negative on this album.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Like I feel like he went on to have like some in terms of like 3 album runs or whatever. I think he's got like a 5 album run in the 2000s that's just fucking amazing. He's one of the most influential hip-hop artists of all time, I'd say in the top 10 most influential hip-hop artists of all time. Mm-hmm. I think his 5 mic moment and his best ever song, not in terms of like, I think he's got better songs in terms of like what I bang on a day to day, but All I Got Is You is a hip-hop classic. I just don't get how you would.
Do you think that's his...
That's his 5 mic moment. It's just it's a fucking amazing song. It's incredible. It's like one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. So yeah, that's mine.
Okay, Ray, what do you think on this? I mean, is this RZA's 5 mic? I don't think it's RZA's 5 mic moment either. It's nice that he's
I've got a reason
one.
why it isn't RZA's. I can tell you why.
Let's hear Ray's.
We'll talk about the beats later, right?
Yeah, Ray. Did you have any 5 mic moments from this album? What do you think? What for you is Ghosts? What for you is Ghosts?
Winter Warz.
Well, you just said Ghosts. The 5 mic moment on this album is Cappadonna on a track that's not But so what was the Winter Warz thing? Was that a 5 mic moment?
I think that's
people think it is. It's
for
not
Kappa. I think that's a 5 mic moment for Kappa. I don't think Kappa ever delivered. That was his moment, as in like, wow, I've arrived. I can do the pillage. People know me now. I'm not sure if we'd have known him after Winter Warz if he hadn't dropped that. It's a fucking freestyle off the top of his head. It's not top of his head, but it's a 2 minute. One take freestyle that I think back then meant a lot in hip hop circles. Like, what, he freestyle? Oh, you know what I mean? And people can argue about written verses or whatever, but another 5 mic moment of Kappa's career, though, and I shared this with you guys, was his new album in 2021 called Tarzan, and it's a 5 mic moment maybe for bad album covers, because this album cover, and I'm sure people have seen it and we'll share it and all that. But where do we start with the Tarzan thoughts, guys?
Do you think he thinks it's good? Because it's weird. Watching that video, the remake of his verse on Winter Warz, it seems like he has no taste in terms of what's good. And like, this is not good. And I can't tell whether he's doing it on purpose or not. It's bizarre.
Can you describe it for the people who haven't seen it or on the podcast?
Off the top of my head, he's got half of his face, he's got a badly photoshopped on JPEG of a lion. And it's really bad. Like, the rest of his body is just him standing there. And then there's animals in the corners that are like badly cut out and put in the corners. And then Tarzan, I didn't even realize it was called Tarzan because it just says Tar on one side, and then it looked like Zin. I thought it was Tarzin that he'd put up. Like, it was weird.
He's looking. I'll tell you one thing. He's looking fucking fly.
Sounds like something that would be at home in the Tate Modern as well. But apparently you don't appreciate those kind of things, do you, Jambo? So
I've set Ray off today. I've really set Ray off. This is one of my most successful Create 808s in a while.
No, so when I saw that album cover, I think I just put it down to, all right, someone's kid must have done that. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
I had a horrible,
but that's the thing. That's the one thing you'd be like, cool, that's justified. Oh, so someone made it. It was on the fridge. They were having dinner together. Like, oh yeah, I'll just use it for my album cover. Really?
Maybe.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh yeah, I mean, I could do. Maybe I've got other options. Oh, it's so nice that you're going to use it as the album cover. Oh yeah, I guess. Oh fuck it. Okay, yeah.
Oh mate, so that's sweet. That's sweet.
Into it, like
that's sweet if it happened that way,
isn't it?
I had a more of a uneasy feeling when the first thing I saw of it. I was like, oh fuck, someone's really taking Kappa to the cleaners here. Like, someone's emailed him and been like, look mate, I get these 3-4 times a day. I'm sure everyone else on Insta who does anything does as well. It's just like, yeah, I can do you graphics, guys. I can do you promos. I can do all this. But he's just got one of them emails and he's been like, yeah, go on then.
But he's winning because we're talking about it.
Absolutely, he's winning. Absolutely, he is. It's one of those. Remember in the 90s, Magic Eye photos. You know, when you just look at something more and more and more, and you get different things. So it can be a little bit like that. He's looking fucking fly, man. I tell you that. He's got the wallabies on and everything.
Does it make you want to listen to the album?
Yes, 100%. 100% need to listen to that album.
I'm curious now. I'm really curious to find out what this was. It War of Winter? Was it War of Winter? Some tune from the 90s.
Oh, amazing! I was actually going to go. We're going to go into the categories in a minute.
We're going to wait. You were saying about his 5 mic moments, and I don't want to be negative about it because what he said, what Ghost says about rhyming is to say some fly shit, and he does. He says some fly shit, and that's why it's great. But you're not quoting him. You know what I mean? There's no memorable. Do you remember when he said this and he broke this down? He's not got memorable lyrics to me, and he's got nothing that really rate as like, oh, that was a 5 mic moment. When he that rhyming couplet, or when he had that double meaning hidden in there, and yeah, maybe that's what I'm really into, and that's not what you go to Ghost for, and I'm not going to Ghost for it.
For you, this can be very personal, the 5 mic moment. It doesn't have to be his general thing, because obviously so many people would disagree with what you said, that he does have, people grew up with these lines, people do have these lines and these quotables. But what you're saying there is, what about like Apollo Kids, or like Mighty Healthy, or One, or Whip You With a Strap, or Nutmeg? Like, it doesn't have to be this album. It's just like, generally for you, what is your, like, oh fuck Ghost, that's the Ghost thing? Is it what Jambo says, or with All That I Got Is You, or is it something different? Just out of interest.
No, I mean, there's nothing. So when I think of Ghost, I think of Daytona 500 as a track. Right. But like, as I alluded to before, and we skirted over a little bit, I noticed that you weren't really biting, but it's fine. But if I was to put together a playlist that would to be played to people from outer space or aliens from outer space, and they're like, "Oh, what's hip hop, Ray?" They're like, "Oh, I've got 100 tracks." Like Daytona 500 would be on that.
Okay,
and,
so
and
Daytona 500.
that's the five. That's the 5 mic. Who knows how you want to phrase it? A top 100 tracks, 5 mic moment. Whatever it might be, it's like Daytona 500. That's the tune that when Ghost and Ray are playing live, that's the tune you're waiting for, isn't it? That's the one that they got, cheers guys, and walk off, and then they're like, wait, they haven't played it yet, and you know they're about to come back on, and you're like, that build up.
I wonder if he opens with that. I wonder if he opens his gigs with that. I wonder if he opens his gigs with that. It's a great I've never seen it because I don't know. I guess I just kind of, you don't expect any Wu-Tang gig to be run, on time, sober, and professionalism. And I saw Ray and Ghost in London a few years ago, and they were professional, bing bang bosh. I was like, wow, that was actually amazing, and they were great together. But
did they do Daytona 500?
Of course they did Daytona 500, mate. Of course they did. There's actually Daytona
because it's a track that you play to aliens if they came. Anyway, whatever. It's fine.
All people from outer space, as Ray said.
All people from outer space.
All people, yeah. Who knows?
Aliens aren't people, fact. Jordan Peterson said it.
They're aliens. I was actually going to say, another thing that Daytona 500 does really well, the video. Because I remember the video, now people do it all the time. People mash up old school anime, old school, or even kung fu flicks with the woo or what music. I don't know if you follow Milo the Cat. Big up, those are amazing. He'll do those old school cartoons with hip hop tracks and verses and sync them. I think Daytona 500 might be the first time I've ever seen that. So we're going to go into our little categories then. We've done Age the Best. We've done Age the Worst. Well, we've done Age the Best, but I don't know if anyone else has got one, but I think all that I got is you kind of had that one. Age the Worst we've done. We've hidden gems on here. I've got a few here. First of all, 260. For me, that is storytelling, again, brilliant on this album, I feel. The sample, the horns on that are just rewindable as fuck. The descriptiveness, again, is there, where he says something like, come here, Valerie, you know the god, he need a salary, put down the pipe, here's 2 tickets to a coke gallery. That, to sum up their heist, is amazing. It's like, oh, wow, like, where's the... I don't know if you remember that song, but they're trying to find the briefcase, and it's like, where is the briefcase? Come here, Valerie, whatever. That, for me, is a brilliant wrap-up of a story. Love that. I think their storytelling is great. So hidden gem for me is 260. You've talked about Assassination Day, guys. There's no coke. There's no coke. There's no fucking coke.
That's from The Usual Suspects, isn't it?
I love that they used that, because at that time I was really into Usual Suspects. I don't remember anyone sampling that.
Which of the 17 30-second intros is that one?
Assassination Day.
It's an
Assassination Day. Okay, I'm just sorry. They all kind of blend into one. In terms of hidden gems, Assassination Day is that because it's got Deck on it. This is finally after all the gibberish, you're like, finally a guy that's fucking rhyming. That makes sense. Just makes sense rhyming. Although
I was going to say, although that isn't the most coherent Deck verse of what he's... Because you're right, Deck does do that.
Yeah,
what
but
Deck does
it's
is
right,
that.
But it's relative to everything else on the album. It's like finally some coherence.
I was actually going to say, because I'm with you on the coherency
as well, but
I was going to say Ray on that track is for me more coherent and better as generally. But go on, you said Deck. I know you love Deck, so yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's just
do
Deck.
you know, by the way,
little hit of Deck, and on Box in Hand as well.
Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, just obviously when Meth comes on as well, but it's not one of his greatest verses,
But Meth is Meth, isn't it? I was going to give you a bit of trivia on Assassination Day. Do you know that I love that beat? Very minimalist, very dark. It's fucking RZA. But apparently, RZA, this is what he was fucking on at that point. Turned up to a pawn shop, found a broken slide guitar, and was like, "Yeah, that looks pretty dope. Today, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to make a beat with it." And he just took it home, made a beat with it, and that was Assassination Day, apparently. There you go. A little bit of trivia for you.
Can I give you some trivia that will sort of... I've got a hot take. It's not a hot take. It's a take on like the Woo. And it's like, I think it's backed up by some facts. This is kind of like the Woo. This is like the last of a certain generation of RZA beats. This album. Because after this, you go to Wu-Tang Forever, which sounds really different. Like, it's got similar vibes, but the production style is cleaned up. And after this, like, RZA changes, goes to Bobby Digital and things like that. And like, I was reading the other day that apparently around this time, he had several floods in his studio. Did you hear about that? And like, it just fucked hundreds of beats up. And so I think after, like, they sort of recreated a lot of the beats that they'd made for this album. But like, apparently like Cappadonna's album and Inspector Deck's album were like fucked. So that's why they never had like a really like big solo album. But I think that says a lot about the production on this album, because it's not my favorite RZA. Like, I feel like it's a bit empty, some of the production. Some of it's amazing, but then some of it's just a bit stark. I mean, boom, boom, Tony Stark, reference. But like, I think it's kind of interesting just to see that, like, the 90s at that point, like, obviously people like Jay-Z and Biggie were cleaning the production up 96, to the point where now the beats still sound amazing, and like this is the last of that era of RZA beats, which still are like, there's a lot of beats on here that are just great and grimy and dusty, and I love that, but it's kind of sad in a way. Like,
it's produced really, like, the actual production of it, everything I've read of it is that because he lost so much in those series of floods, that this was actually recorded and mastered in loads of different areas, different studios, different sounds. So although it could be seen as uneven, I don't really get that when I listen back to it. Although it is a bit uneven, but again, I think he did a very good job. It's
that old Wu sound, isn't it? It's the last little bits, and then you could move on, and he's just his style changes, and he's not really. I mean, he's still made some amazing beats, but nothing like the original Wu-Tang days. Like,
true. This is rapping. I'd be interested to see what the Deck album would have sounded like with those original beats at that time.
I know, right?
Because he went off and did digital, and that's very different. And Forever is very different. And you're like, wow, I wonder what old school RZA would have done with Deck when he did Uncontrolled Substance. You're right. Hidden gems as well. I've got Poisonous Darts. That reminds me of Supreme Clientele a lot. He's fucking rounded up Vaccines on there, which makes sense today. And there's like, what was that fucking couplet that I loved? Something about going through mad phases and of all ages, killer bees locked the fuck up behind cages. I was like, I love his voice, his cadence. He's so urgent, you know. And I find that's another thing with this album. It's actually got momentum through all of it, and you can't hear that a lot in hip hop albums where we're just going to keep the energy going, and his voice is just fucking cuts through with stuff like that. Lads, I actually had some hidden gems I'd found around this, and I know people like these, just these tracks that may have got lost or need a bit more shine. I found a few doing some research. Jambo, you found a few I hear. Would you like to bring those to the table?
Yeah, I've got one. So
this is Winter Warz. Have you heard of it? It's a blah, blah, blah.
Dickheads. Oh my god! I can't believe how angry I've got you today. It's fucking brilliant.
I know.
This has made my day. This has really made my day.
Go on, Jumbo. What was yours?
So yeah, like I was just looking through RZA's production sort of discography the other day, and Shaquille O'Neal's Shaq Fu to Return. I didn't realize, but that was 1994, so that's like pre this album. This is just in the same year that Meth and Gravediggers, like their first albums came out, and he's got a song there called No Hook, and there's a video to it, and it's fucking great. Like it's
I love that.
Wild Gravediggers era RZA just saying gibberish, going mental, but like you were saying, it's quite good. And
I love RZA on that track. I think RZA's great. Meth is great as well. You know what I love about RZA on that track and that video? The fucking fangs, man. That grill. It's just that was an iconic era for RZA. Like the guy was like just on fire in terms of the output and art that he was putting out. But yeah, Shaq. It was quite weird seeing Shaq because it's not the worst. Like someone said in the comments on YouTube, like Shaq was like derided for this, like his rap career at this point, but he raps way better than most like of modern rappers do. Fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
And also like he doesn't look rugged enough. You know, he's just friendly, lovely Shaq, and he's trying to be Wu-Tang. Also, the thing that I really liked on it was that the song's called No Hook, and they went, "What should we do? What's the concept for the video?" Loads of hooks. They're just hooks hanging down. And
you said no hook.
Yeah, it's weird. But anyway, worth checking the video out. And Meth sort of phones it in, but it's quite good. And the beat is the same sample as Can It All Be So Simple, but like they're checking the bass line from that and sped it up a bit. So that's quite good.
Are you using this to try and get Iron Man to beat the other two albums? What's this?
This is because the listeners like hidden gems, right? I don't know if you know, but people listen to this.
Interesting content, Ray. We're not all just trying to win.
The content's already interesting. This is about the battle between albums trying to get into Crate 808. Okay,
you didn't even listen to this in the 90s. You have no opinion on this.
This is you grasping at straws.
Not grasping at straws, my friend.
All is.
Not grasping at straws.
Anything else that I can tag on to Iron Man, because I know it's gonna,
No one said that. No, none of this is tied up to Iron Man. None
We're
of this
going to
on
have
the
to
album,
cut a lot of your rage out of this, so we've got to fill it up with something.
I found some brilliant ones, mate, and this is the fucking shit that Ghost is on at that point as well. But I don't know if you've heard Fast Life from NFL Jams.
NFL Jams.
Anytime you're riffing Street Life, I'm in for that. That was my go-to. If I went to the nightclub in Sheffield I used to go to, the first track I'd always ask the DJ for was Street Life. So fair play on that one. That I always got that. Holocaust from Bobby Digital, man, the lyrics on that are absolutely ridiculous. Look out your window, now see, pull up the shade. You'll be amazed. Me, Tony Stark, spaceship, ran Barra Duracell, the only man who walked through hell, dick swinging like shit went well. That's when you know things have gone well, is your dick's just fucking swinging, mate. I love it. And then another one on this album where he says we're doing forever shit, like pissing on turnpikes. What is forever shit, and is it pissing on turnpikes? Because I love if it is. It's like, yeah, we're going to do this forever. It's pissing on turnpikes. So yeah, hidden gems. Anybody else got any, or should we move on to the next category?
Are we back to the album yet, or are we just in?
We are going to the album, my friend. We've got a few more
hidden
categories.
Gems
just a few more.
In just life.
No, just Ghost hidden gems. If you've got Ghost hidden gems or anything like that.
Because Black Jesus is ridiculous, fucking ridiculous tune. And that whole beat, it sounds like the soundtrack of a kung fu movie. Which is very, very woo, obviously. But it's the kung fu movie opening track. I think it might even be from. I can't remember, one of the Bruce Lee ones anyway, but it's that but just sampling that beat is just like you said, like Jambo said, it's like the last the last bit of RZA doing that kind of flavor, and then he went on to what was
what he got to do. Yeah. But what you say about RZA there, I'm with you on this. I think this track is great. I always remember there's one bit where it always made me think of, what is it, Ghost says something like, we elbowed our way to the front and stuff like that. The way his verse rhymes on that is great. I was actually going to say, you talk about RZA being on one at this point. I was just bumping Marvell again. And Jambo joined in the call. And the way RZA's going on, this is how we're going to open the album with one of the best intros ever, and then we're going to end it with 2 minutes of rapping, and then just 2 minutes of RZA going full on prog. Just going to go prog rap right now. I'm going to go.
Oh yeah, that is what it's like, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like I'm just going to.
I like it more now that you said that.
It's just, I don't know, it's just like and it's not even the best RZA beat. It's just like a bing, bing, bong, bing, bing for 2 minutes.
But now that you've said that, now that you've put it in that terms, I'm like, oh yeah, that's quite. I like that. It's just him going prog.
Yeah, He was on one, man. He was on one. We've got other categories.
I've got a hidden gem for you, by the way.
Oh, go on. Yeah, please. Yeah.
It's not really an official hidden gem. It's at that age. So what was this? 1997. Six. Okay, I was quite young at that age, and I didn't have money to buy albums. So I, like Ray, like Ray says he did, I got it off of a friend and then put it on tape. So obviously I don't have the liner notes or anything like that. So I'd listen to All That I Got Is You. And now I know at the end, Papa Wu comes on and he does this, like, if you listen to it, maybe it's just me, but he sounds a bit like Tupac, Papa Wu. And at the time I thought, that's nice that Tupac's come on this album.
Wow.
But listen to his, like, the way I should have written it down, but like there's a certain like way he talks, and a few words he says, and the way he laughs at the end. I'm like, that sounds really like Tupac.
Wow.
Listen to that again, hidden gem.
Yeah,
Papa Wu equals Tupac in my 14-year-old mind.
What I love about that is because I believe in what science. Yeah, science says that we're all made of the same thing, doesn't it? Right? So we're all made of the same thing, and Papa Wu is talking about that, and I love the way Raekwon's just like, what? So what you're saying is I'm made up of all this same shit right here. Papa Wu takes another element of that and goes further. Because not just that, mate. You created this shit. I'm like, whoa, well, I agree with you on the energy.
Wu. I was with you, Papa, up until that point.
Yeah, but again, the woo mathematics, all that stuff, 5% philosophy is all in here. So that's what they believe in. But yeah, I remember that point. That really got me as well. What non-90s rappers could be on here? Let's buzz through these last few. I had one, but do you guys have any non-90s rappers to be on Iron Man?
Non-90s rapper? Well, no, because Ghostface and him have got a beef. They just get the shit beat out of them.
Right? That beef video with Teddy Pendergrass is fucking incredible, by the way.
I haven't watched the whole thing. Is he just all the whole way through talking about how he's going to slap fire out of Action Bronson's ass?
It's incredible how he just naturally has, rhythm and pattern to things. And I don't know if it's just coincidence or whatever, but this is one of my sample corner bits. We have our favourite samples. One of the first samples of like a track I went to listen to was that Teddy Pendergrass song, and it's so real. He's giving fucking Action Bronson so much jip, and then this part comes on where Teddy's singing, and he just seamlessly starts singing it and goes, "Yeah, Action, that's what you should be." Yeah, wow, he fucking timed that so right. Oh my god, Ghost, what are you doing? It's so threatening. It's
basically a video of him threatening
Action
Bronson to music. He's a talented guy. He's a talented guy.
It's great. But yeah, no, you were saying Action Bronson on this. That I feel you're going to find some. It's just the same person, isn't it? It's like, it just goes again. Okay.
Exactly.
Like it.
Exactly. Them seamlessly going from one to the other. Just, that's
there it. There you go.
I think we were speaking about this the other day, and I feel like I'd like to look into this more, but like, yeah, obviously Mr. Dumoulin was around at this point making music, but very different music. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like he was influenced by Ghost a lot 100%. In what he went on to do. And like, I feel like having him on this would be pretty fucking great. Like,
yeah. We are talking non-90s though, aren't we?
Oh yeah, okay, non-90s. Didn't he? When did his? 98, didn't it? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. 99.
Well, Zevil of X was out before that as well, wasn't it? So like, yeah.
Freddie Gibbs.
I had Freddie
Coke
down.
rap. It's Coke rap. It's easy. It's the easy answer.
I wasn't thinking it's just easy, but I was also thinking if you're talking about riding beats, which I feel like on this album, there's a fucking great amount of that. Like, the flow, the riding of a beat. Freddie does that amazingly. Yeah, that'd be quite nice if he could have done that.
And it would annoy Ray.
Jesus Christ. I need another drink.
And it would annoy Ray. I'm just going to go into this because I'm not sure if Ray's going to have anything on this. But our album title, this was actually initially supposed to be called Supreme Clientele.
Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Supreme Clientele was supposed to be called Iron Man. But any
I think he should have done it. He should have put this as called this Tony Stark's. And then he should have called Supreme Clientele Iron Man. And then he should have not released Bulletproof Wallets. And then he should have put out...
No, love Bulletproof Wallets.
Bulletproof Wallets is like 3 good songs with a load of fucking trash around it.
I can't wait to get you on that Wu-Tang Chronicle, man. Let's get on it.
Yeah, like I say, he's got a fucking amazing run in that point, but that ruins that does ruin it a bit because it's not actually that good.
Let's
have a look at his discography because it's like 6 fucking great albums.
Yeah, I've got it right here for you, my friend. If you want
hit me up, tell me what the order of the albums is.
Iron Man, Supreme Clientele. This is studio albums, so no mixtapes.
We're going 2000s because Supreme Clientele.
Okay,
is the
Supreme
first
Clientele,
one, 2000.
Bulletproof Wallets, Pretty Tony album, which I'm a
fucking brilliant. No, that's fucking amazing. Oh,
yeah, I know people love it. I'm just a bit like that on it. I need to revisit it, to be fair.
Jeez, that was my life.
Fish Scale, yes, fucking please. I actually liked More Fish, but I understand.
I like More Fish as well, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a bit of different, like Big Doe Rehab, Ghostini, Wizard of Poetry in Emerald City. What a fucking title. Apollo Kids, which is where he fucking brought it back. This guy knows how to bring shit back as well. Yeah. I love Apollo Kids. And 12 Reasons to Die and all that stuff after that. But that's you're right. His run.
That 5-album run, considering you love Bulletproof Wallets, I'm not, but that's a fucking amazing run. That is.
Yeah, absolutely. Big. I think he maintained that Woo brand better than any Woo member until RZA probably stepped up again, and it took a long time. And Ray brought out a few better things later, but at that time it really was Ghost carrying the Woo brand, I feel.
Yeah, that run influenced Kanye, like you were saying earlier. It influenced MF Doom. It influenced every single fucking rapper out right now who's making 100%. Non-trap
Nicholas
beats.
Craven. Yeah, Nicholas Craven right now, he's probably one of the biggest producers.
He was on Newsround and he was fucking banging it, wasn't he?
for the UK heads.
I can't wait to. I really want to watch Nicholas Craven's thing. I just, for some reason, I can't stop thinking about him. But I'm looking forward to it. You've hyped it up. I'm looking forward to it.
We talk about Marsberg, Marcianus Marsberg, non-90s, but got a lot of 90s DNA in that. So yeah, please do go to check that out. Cray08.com.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that.
Album artwork. I think it's obviously kind of iconic, right?
Yeah.
No, don't throw around the term fucking iconic. It's just mates. It's mates, isn't it? That's why it's good.
I do love mates. I think it is iconic because of the Wallabies. I think Wallabies became a thing then. That's when they became a thing.
You can't, like, the Kardashians have ruined the term iconic. You can't say
look, first you get the green joint, right? Bam. And then you hit them with the blow. Boom. It's my really bad impression.
Hold on. Ray just cited. You watch the Kardashians, mate.
No, I'm just saying that they've made the phrase iconic. It's iconic. They've taken that and they've fucking destroyed the word. You can't use it anymore.
Okay. I didn't know this. So either way, I'm not in that world, so I'll still use it.
I know that. Tell me about this cold, stormy battle. Winter Warz. That's it. Yeah, I'll do some research on that a little bit.
I've broken Ray. I think I've broken Ray. He's talking about the Kardashians. You can't stop mentioning it.
You're saying it's iconic, and it's not iconic. It's not,
I think it is.
The cover's iconic. The cover's an icon of hip-hop.
I think it is iconic because people have riffed on it afterwards.
No, the Woo W is icon. That's iconic.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Hip-hop iconic. That's in very familiar fucking logo here. But
there you go. Iconic.
Three mates in an album cover isn't iconic. It's cool. It's fucking cool is what it is.
Oh, so you're talking about the actual makeup of the album cover. You're not talking about the legacy it's had. You're talking about just the actual album cover, technically.
No, I'm talking about the fucking album cover. Oh, I'm talking about the legacy. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Aren't they two of the same? What conversations do you have at home where you
We're talking about the album cover. You said album cover, and I said, it's mates. So it's a great album cover.
Ray's saying, be precise with your words. Be precise with your words.
Okay,
it's in a book he read.
Yes.
Here's preciseness. The album cover is great because it is colourful, mates, arranged brilliantly,
and fashion.
Brilliant type,
Wallaby Clarks,
brilliant typography. Everything is fucking cool about it. And then, as an extension of that, through the years, it has become iconic. Now,
disagree.
Is also, by the way, do go check out Sophia Chang. She managed ODB and Woo and all that, and she is brilliant on the pod. We had her on, and she talks about the album shoot for this in the Patreon episode. We'll cut that bit in, actually. I reckon just put that bit in. But she was saying it was amazing because the whole fucking factory, they were in a warehouse, and there was just fucking so many wallabies.
I'm looking forward to listening to that. It sounds interesting.
She's brilliant. She's really good, Sophia Chang. She's got some great stories. But I was going to say, Feature Trinity, guys. So we like to on this pod, well, we've already talked about features being amazing. Kappa obviously having one of the best ones on this album. But generally, in the 90s, we realised...
Did he though?
He had the best feature on the Don't Menace to Be Society, whatever soundtrack.
Have you watched that film, Cam? Do you know?
I actually rewatched the first hour about a month ago and just couldn't keep going. I'll be honest, it's just not actually.
It's not aged.
Yeah, I know.
Do we have a problem?
Scene. I'm with you, Ray.
That scene is iconic. Okay, right.
Do you know what? We're going to do film reviews at some point, film revisits. Let's put that on the list. I was actually going to say, so on our feature trinities, there's three people who fucking killed features back in the 90s, and that was either Busta, Method Man, or Nas. Now, out of those three, you can have more Meth if you want, or you can have Busta or Nas on this album. Which one are you going for, and do you have a track, a home for them?
Okay, I'm going to switch it up because I've just been thinking about Meth isn't the feature king of the 90s. Cannabis is a better feature king of the 90s.
Cannabis is up there.
I would have Cannabis on this because he was good at spitting some pseudo-spiritual bullshit that sounded great, and he'd go good on this. So I'm putting Cannabis on.
Can I bus? Okay, not in the rules, so you're out. Ray, have you got have you got any within the parameters I've set? That'd be great.
Yeah, I put Wuha era Buster on Daytona 500.
Oh,
he's just got to bring the energy.
Yeah. You've got to replace the verse though. Whose verse are you replacing?
No, not replace. Just put him on.
No.
Extra verse. I love
I'd replace Ghost because we've got to keep Ray to start it off, and then Ghost verses are all the fucking same
I think
anyway.
Ghost has got the best verse on Daytona.
You can just replace it, put anyone. I
think Ghost has got the best verse on Daytona. Sorry, lads.
No,
but either way,
of course you do.
I was going to say, Buster's a great one. I had Buster on there first, but I was thinking, imagine just another world. We have more meth. Meth comes on, but with meth, let's just do another Woo posse cut on the Daytona beat. Like that, why wouldn't you want that? Like, come on, that would be amazing. So yeah, that was my it's a little bit of a stretch, but either way, that was where I was at. And then we have finally...
Take Cannabis. Take Cannabis and replace the whole Wildflower verse and put him on that.
On the beat?
Yeah, just put him on that beat. Be way better than that song.
Beat is sick as well.
I've improved the album fucking massively. Right.
Imagine what Cannabis would be doing at the spit on
just
that.
Just take any like 32 bars of 100 bars and then just insert it in. It's fine. Just any of those, done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listeners, if you want to email him with actually doing that, I would fucking love that.
Please, if someone could just cut up some Cannabis on Daytona 500 or Wildflower, on Wildflower, email us, man, cray808@gmail.com. Hit us up. I want to see that. And last but certainly not least, this is for the sample heads out there, the album liner note geeks. I don't know if Jambo's checking out now. When are you checking out? Checking out now?
I don't check out. I just try and wind them up. I don't believe they exist, first of all. And secondly, or if they do, fuck you.
So Sample Corner is where we talk about our favourite samples or things that we've derived from the album samples. I have a few here I need to jump into. I feel there's so many amazing samples on this because I love soul music anyway, but I think anyone who's it's sampled a million times, but Bob James' Nautilus, when you're using it on Daytona 500, you're using it like probably the best you may ever use it, if you know what I mean. I know that everyone used to say it used to be a Beats in the Park, and at those jams, Bob James was fucking rinsing shit. People were rhyming over it. So I'm sure there's other things available. To my mind, I've not heard that sample used as well, but than Daytona 500. So yeah, I think I remember watching an interview with him on that, and he said it made him cry. Bob James did. He was like, "Oh, that's made me cry." He's used it that well, brilliantly.
Because it's been used well. Sorry, okay, fine. Not the opposite reason. That's made me cry. That's just fucking awful.
Oh no, not the other reason. No, because it's used well. And my other one was, we could talk about all the samples, but we need to. One thing I love about hip hop, and I've talked about this on the pod before, but I think the fact that hip hop is self-sufficient in itself to hold up high art that could easily have been missed back in the day. So say Gangstar, Big L, rest in peace, that whole sample of just Big L and the whole sample, Big L's been sampled over the years, has made him still consistently been appreciated at some level. And I feel hip hop does that all the time with every sample it uses. Bob James getting its flowers. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like stuff like Blaxploitation, I love my film. I feel that probably did get slept on. I did not know much about that until Quentin Tarantino turned up, and then it was like, oh no, it's in all these albums, and I love the fact
that's why they
that
get on.
Preserves
so
black
well.
art. Yeah. I think it
that's
preserves black art. Sorry,
the Woo are kind of like the Tarantino of hip hop. Or Tarantino is the director. Like they're like one another. They just take a load of stuff, mix it all together, throw it out there. It's entertaining, fun, not particularly deep. Pretends to be deep, but isn't particularly deep.
I disagree on that point, but I do agree that they definitely take. But it's weird, isn't it? Because we're all into different things. If we were ever creatively minded and as good as any of those guys, it's amazing the influences that are in your.
What do you mean if?
Can become.
Yeah. He talks to your fucking self, mate.
Jesus.
I await the new albums, guys. I await.
By the way, while we're talking about production, did you read the story of the Delphonics being drawn into a shootout that Ghost was involved in?
I did not read this.
Because at this time he was obviously he was, like you were saying earlier, massive soul fan. He got the Delphonics on the album, and basically they were driving somewhere. They were in a van behind him, and he was in his car. And he said that some guy they were stopped for a minute, and some guy was just literally in a car, just looking at him like that, just looking. And he was like this, it was freaking him out a little bit. And the guy drove up and drove back, just looking at him, and he was freaked out. And obviously the Delphonics are there, so he's it's got to show out a little bit. So as the guy was driving away, just got his gun out and just shot at the car. And now he says, I really regret it. I feel a lot of guilt. They shouldn't have been involved with that.
Oh. Oh man, that's mad. That is, again, there's a lot of stories, and I'm sure we'll dip into those.
And so he'll talk about it. It's an actual.
Wow.
I think he got at that time he went to Rikers Island shortly after or before on gun charges. So I'm not sure if that was what it was to do.
So there's a lot of this stuff because apparently he was shot as well, right? Ghost was shot.
Sounds like a rumor that could be on some kind of a roulette.
Hey, I've got you covered.
Rumor roulettes, they're coming. But yeah, there you go. I was going to say as well by that, these rumor roulettes, all that stuff. If you want more of it, hit us up, man. Email us because we don't know. We want to do more stuff that you guys like. But the Woo Chronicles is going to be coming, and we're going to dive into more of this ghostness later. It might not be with Ray. It might be people who appreciate him a little bit more, but or we will get into it. Now,
Cam,
lads,
I've got a request for something that I want to happen on the pod. What should I do?
You should email us at crate808@gmail.com.
Okay. Just wanted to double check because I hadn't realised that.
Yes, there you go. Or you can hit us on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, whatever. Just check us out, mate, yeah? And sign up to that newsletter and subscribe to this YouTube. Right.
Just give us a like. That's the most important thing, listeners. Don't listen to any of that. You don't have to come up with... Don't email in. I don't want to hear from you. What I want you to do is just click like and follow. That's all.
He's all about the algorithm logistics. That's what he's about.
That's what I want. Yeah.
But I think it just leaves me with my 30-second conclusion if anyone's got a timer at hand, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah, should I put a timer on?
Ray doesn't get a say on the album title then? I
think you went for a beer at that point, mate. I think you went for a beer at that point.
You threw your headphones down like a child.
Ray, do you have anything else on Iron Man generally in these categories? Come on. I'm willing to hear from you. Come on, what you got?
Basically, because I'm just going to tie it into a little bit of because we've not really referenced it in the sense of it there being the battle of the three albums trying to get into Crate 808. Maybe people trying to move away from that brand, but I'm not going to let it happen. So, what I thought about the Iron Man title is very much like borrowed coolness. Like the Iron Man is, Tony Stark's that whole thing, and it's the same thing that Jay-Z does on a whole shit. I don't know what he did, but when does he let it go? The whole, the pretend Scarface thing. Yeah. Are we going to go into it? We're going to go into it on Volume 2, and I don't know when he ever stops doing it, but that's not good. I don't think that in the same way. I don't like the whole because it was it's fucking. His name's Ghostface Killah. He could just call every album Ghostface Killah 1, 2, 3, 4. True. It would still be a fucking cool name.
But then he wouldn't have had a cameo in Iron Man, so it worked out. Right?
He probably still would have. He's fucking Ghostface.
Have you seen that cameo, by the way, Robert Downey Jr.? It's really like, it's in a Marvel film. Really weird. Like, Robert Downey Jr. just goes off to have a threesome. And you're like, what is this doing? Probably why they cut it.
No, I haven't seen it.
I've got a question. Ray, in Australia, there is a food outlet called Toast Faced Griller that makes cheese sandwiches, and he went there and he performed on the top of a van while he was there. So
that is incredible. Really? Has anyone got video or footage of that? I want to see that, or a photo.
If you just look it up, Toast Face Griller is a place in Australia.
No, I mean, I've heard of Toast Face Griller. It's literally there. You can see it from my flat. That's where
Ghostface performed outside your flat on a van.
Yeah, it was.
That's what you lead with, Ray. That's what you lead with.
Toast Face. There's multiple Toast Face Griller. Yeah, what would I have said?
It's
to
a chain.
Wait, by the way,
is it a chain?
Your album's in a debate, and I think it's shit. Fuck you.
Winter what?
I don't think it's shit. Daytona 500. I would have explained, the Alien playlist to him. I said, look, you got on it. There's only 100. There's only 100 tracks. They're all from the 90s.
There's fucking thousands. You use it every week.
Do you know what?
Shook his hand.
I want to do a little bit of that Alien playlist on the Patreon, mate. So if people do sign up and we do get people, I feel like we need to do 100 episodes or 100 episodes. Just the 100 tracks that go in. Imagine that. Jeez, I would not last. Yeah. But either way, hope you guys have enjoyed it. Are we going to do my 30-second conclusion then? Is there anything else, Ray? Is there anything else that you had?
Yeah, I'll let you go now.
We've only been doing this for 2 hours, mate. You know what I mean? You've had time. Right, so anyone got a timer? I'll buzz this out.
So, Cam, are you ready with your 30-second conclusion?
I am.
I've got the timer ready.
3, 2. In fact, you should do the countdown. I'm in Australia.
Yeah, because you're 3, 2, 1, go.
Whilst rounding off RZA's master plan.
Sorry, that's it. It's 30.
Time difference is a killer, isn't it?
Sorry.
Right, let's try again.
30 seconds. Go.
Whilst rounding off RZA's master plan and helping embed the woo in popular culture on a global scale, Iron Man takes you on a heart-racing ride through a unique world built around stories of family, black power, soul music, crime, heartbreak, and earth-shattering language, while setting landmarks in stone for the rest of rap to look to. With all of this, Iron Man's biggest win may be that while birthing one of the greatest rap artists ever, it showed you can do it with honesty, heart, integrity, and ingenuity. If you don't get it, it doesn't matter. The Ghostface train had left the station, and those on board were in for the ride of their lives for the next decade and beyond.
So over. You went way over.
Did I?
Yeah, miles over. Did you not hear me? I made a really loud noise.
Oh, no, sorry, man. I thought you were sort of obnoxiously just shouting over me.
It's classic Cam. Just power through. Keep talking. Just keep talking.
It's got me this far. So
can I just look over my shoulder? Look over my shoulder. Look at this guy here.
Oh, cool. What do you think to Iron Man, mate? James's dog has joined us.
He loves your 30-second outros because they're actually like 3-minute outros. But
it's great, though. Nicely written, though, isn't it? Right. So
it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
So, guys,
disqualified. It's too long, but it's fine. It was good.
There is no 30-second conclusion. Ray's going to edit that out. So, man, I know it's turned to a long one, but I really, really enjoyed this chat. I hope people out there too. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. We're on Clubhouse as well. Crate808.com, and check out the playlists. We've got our playlists on there as well. Subscribe to them. Subscribe to our YouTube. Get us in the comments in YouTube, by the way, because we get so many good people talking in there. We want more of that and get a bit of community going, and sign up to that newsletter because the Patreon is coming. Now, lads, leaves me with last great thing you heard. Have you got a last great thing you heard, guys, for me?
Does it have to be hip hop?
Doesn't have to be hip hop, just the last great piece of music you heard.
Okay.
Could be old, could be new.
Cassandra Jenkins, specifically a song called Hard Drive, really good. The album's lovely, but the song Hard Drive by Cassandra Jenkins, check it out. It's lovely.
Love that. Raymond Ridge, what have you got, my friend?
The last great thing that I listened to was actually... I might have mentioned it in the last episode, but who knows when this is going out, so this might be months away. But,
true.
It's Sci-Hi's 2017 album.
You said this yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, he did it in the mailbag episode.
But we're not. People that are listening aren't going to know what happened yesterday, are they?
Yeah, but you're going to say it twice. Just come up with a new thing.
What? Wait, sorry. I was supposed to listen to something new since yesterday. I've been listening to the same fucking album all week. It's ridiculous. It's fucking amazing.
Let him have it. If it's the last great piece of music he said.
Cut this.
No dope on Sundays.
It's the last great piece of music he heard.
No dope on Sundays. I realised why I came across it, because I was like, why did I come across it? Because he was in a crash recently, wasn't he?
Ah, okay.
He survived, but then because he was in my news, and then you go down a rabbit hole, and then next thing I was listening to his album, and like fucking No Dope on Sundays is ridiculous.
It's got bars. My last one, I only heard it this morning. It's on the Crate 808 Bangers playlist. Your Old Droog from the Yod Fahim album, Ice Shop Entrees, is fucking brilliant.
I need to get into Your Old Droog.
Do you know what? That playlist is brilliant. I'm going to put it out there. It's the only playlist I listen to now is by Crate 808 Bangers playlist. So anyone else who's liking it, let us know. And I might, new music recommendations, hit us up. I might put some more on there.
You should put for every 15 email pushes that you do on it, knock 5 of them off and do the fucking Spotify playlist and get more listeners for that, because it's fucking great.
Oh, thank you, James. Well, there you go. I've been put in my place. I hope you guys have it too now. So there we go. Right, next up, Jay-Z's Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. Those skits, Jumbo, we've got to go in. Right, mate. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you. James, catch you on the flip side.
Okay, I'm reloading.
Raven Ridge, I should catch you soon.
Yeah, catch you next time when we kick something that means something.
Nice. Pharcyde's Labcab coming soon too. Peace.
Bye.